Hey there, folks. I'm meteorologist Matt Barrington. We are, of course, going to be dealing with heat, not only for today or 31st of July on our Wednesday, but as we move into August, oh, it's going to be blisteringly hot, and it will continue to be that way here across the Gulf Coast. So we're looking at extreme heat. Heat index values easily up around 108 to 112 in the afternoon. So we have a heat advisory in place for much of the area. Here's what the forecast heat index looks like for us today. It's not just the fact that it gets hot, it's the fact that it gets hot and it stays hot. I mean, you see that we hit the triple digit heat index around 8 or 9 in the morning, and we stay there until 6, 7 in the evening. So that's the hard part. That's the part that makes it very difficult to deal with it. It's the fact that it's all day long. You just don't get a break from it. And the other thing I like to mention to folks is, obviously we know how to deal with heat. We deal with it every summer. It's just part of our lives down here on the Gulf Coast. And I don't know, people get over kind of like, well, why do we worry about it so much? Well, keep in mind, when somebody's maybe having a long day, something's gone wrong in their day, and they're just not paying attention, not doing what they usually would do, and find themselves dehydrated. And the thing is, when somebody starts having heat exhaustion or heat stroke, they get confused. So they probably won't notice themselves that they're having a problem. So that's why it's incumbent on the people that are around them, like for you, to notice when somebody else is having a problem, okay, then helping them out. So that's kind of the thing today. Just make sure everybody stays safe out there as we deal once again with this extreme heat for us across the area. All right, out in the tropics, obviously we're keeping an eye on what's happening in the tropics. We told you days ago that this would be a very slow developing system. It hasn't developed yet, okay? Still waiting. That part of it's really not a surprise. We said that this would be a very slow developing system, that the modeling was way out ahead of it, and the Hurricane Center got way out ahead of this thing. So let's look at some of the modeling. Here's the European model in the coming days. It's going to keep it, once again, fairly weak for the next couple of days. It won't be till the weekend till it shows development. That's, once again, exactly what we're expecting. Now, the European model takes it up the east coast of the U.S. and kind of parallel to the east coast of the U.S., then eventually back out to sea. So that's a scenario. And then keep in mind, the European model has been basically saying this for days. So it has been very consistent. That's one thing we can say here about the European model. It's been very consistent. The GFS model has been consistent in the sense that it's been taking the system farther to the west and keeping it weaker. But it's doing some kind of crazy things towards the end. And I'll show you that here. So this is the GFS, or the American model. So I'm running a new model now if you're watching. The European model, remember, took it up the east coast as a storm. This one has it very weak, but eventually does move it into the Gulf of Mexico over the weekend, and then tries to turn it into a system there in the northern Gulf by next Monday. And that's really, at that point, offshore of us as a developing system. Now, which of those two scenarios is most likely? In my thinking, it's the European solution, because the way the steering currents are working, I think it'll probably more likely stay off the east coast of the U.S. Does it mean this can't happen? Certainly not. This could happen. But once again, the GFS hasn't been as consistent as the European model. The solution it's showing towards the end is a bit more funky because it's showing it losing steering currents and sort of bobbling around in the North Gulf. So don't get too focused in on this. Don't worry about it too much. Just be aware. It's a small possibility, and it's something we'll be tracking for you in the coming days and see exactly what's going to happen. So the hard part when you're this far out ahead of a system that has not developed yet, if you don't know exactly where a system is starting, you can't really forecast exactly where it's going to go. So bears watching, that's what we'll continue to do. Back home, things are quiet. We don't have anything going on. As we get into the afternoon, there will be some pop-up showers and thunderstorms. You'll see that here on the Futurecast. A number of those will happen here for us today. They look small in the Futurecast, but keep in mind, these are going to be downpours. And you know how it is. You're driving along and you're doing okay. Then all of a sudden, you just drive into a wall of rain, basically a waterfall. So be careful out there. These can be pretty intense for a short amount of time, but they won't be everywhere. 30 to 40% rain chance day. It is not an 80 to 90 rain chance kind of day. So they won't be everywhere. Not everybody will see them. So a lot of areas will just stay really stinking hot out there today. and not get any showers or storms. Highs today, mid-90s to upper 90s across the area, so searing heat. Doesn't factor in once again, the heat index values will be up around 110. The evening planner, you get off work tonight, any kids have a practice or something like that, it's going to be hot for those practices. I know my kids are already starting some of their soccer practices. It's going to be really hot. Upper 80s out there for us, even going on into the evening for tonight. Here's the long range forecast. I'm going to get this up full screen for you so you can see the whole deal here. It is no changes. I mean, tomorrow, of course, is August 1st. And as we move from move from July into August, it is just going to stay really stinking hot. Mid to upper 90s. There will be some showers and storms around in the afternoons to help cool us off a little bit. But sometimes those pop-up showers add more steam than anything else. So not terribly helpful a lot of times. And you know, it's August, guys. As I usually say, we just got to suffer through August. It is a rough month on the Gulf Coast in August. So there we go. Mid to upper 90s, a lot of heat. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Fox 10 Gulf Stream. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 10. We'll be back with you here all through the day.